Okay, so I am shooting my first episode, my first podcast episode, and I have so many ideas. I've got books that I want to read and share with the podcast. Like this, I bought during Christmas time. It's supposed to be a simple book in French that is supposed to teach me vocabulary, etc. And this, I just took it because it's speaking about jacarandas and it reminded me so much of South Africa. But alas, it speaks about Rwanda, but I'm still interested in the story. And this, I'm interested because, well, we are living in the age of AI, and why not? So, in any case, this is for later. Right now, I have some ideas about where I want the podcast to go. And where I want it to go is that I would like to have a first episode where I introduce myself. So on the script that I wrote, I'm supposed to tell you about myself, like setting the path for the pod. So basically, I'm Kutlwano Hutamo, hence the K in Life of K, the name of the podcast. Welcome to the Life of K. And I believe that I've lived a bit of a boring but illustrious life that could be interesting to most people. And I would like to share how I navigate through this thing called life. And maybe I could help some people out there who are in the same situation. So, to introduce myself, I am a girl from Mzansi, South Africa. I I changed schools quite a bit as a kid, but in any case, I'd like to believe that that built character and it's helping me to do the podcast now because I have things to talk about. I believe that I changed primary schools about 3 times. Then I changed high schools one, two, 4 times. So all in all, I've changed schools 7 times, and it was a bit difficult, as you can imagine, to make friends. Um, but somehow I did make friends. My high school friends have not lasted. I'm not friends with any of them anymore. Some of them, it was a bad breakup, a bad friendship breakup, and I was sad about it. The betrayal was wild. And that too is a story for another day. Then, um, some of the other friends, it wasn't a breakup. It's just that life happened and the friendship just fizzled out. For instance, for one of my friends, she invited me to her wedding. Went to the wedding. We kept in touch for a bit. And then afterwards, things just fizzled out. And this is before I even moved from South Africa. But I'm getting ahead of myself. All that to say that, yeah, I'm not friends with any of my high school friends. So, guys, if you're still friends with your high school friends and primary school friends, massive kudos because that is rare. And it's a beautiful thing to go through life with people that have seen you from the beginning. So, good for you. So yes, that's the primary school. Then I went to university. Oh, university. Oh my God, the struggles, the struggles, the struggles, the struggles. So I was raised by a single mother, and I am number 3 of 4 children. So when it came to going to university, I saw it as an opportunity for me to lift myself out of poverty, to try and chart a better life for myself. So I took it so seriously. You have no idea. I didn't do any of the partying. I didn't do any of the wild things that first year students do because I was so afraid of just going out on a drunken night, things going horribly wrong. Then I couldn't finish my studies and all the terrible things that I imagined. So I was super focused. I was at the library until 2 a.m. sometimes. And as I was walking back to my commune from University of Pretoria Hatfield campus to my commune in Hatfield, I would be passing past Hatfield Square. And in the early 2000s, you can imagine it was still popping. Hatfield Square was the mecca of all fun activities in that area in Pretoria East, let me say. So in any case, so I would be passing by and there would be students there having fun, and I would just be looking like, yo, good for you, and then just head back home. Then I graduated with my BSc in genetics. And then, of course, you know, when you do BSc, people don't really take you seriously unless you have at least an honors. But an honors is like your way into the door. So I did my honors. And then after honors, well, whilst doing my honors, I was waitressing. Even during my bachelor's degree, I was also waitressing. And I would be walking home late, sometimes alone, sometimes with my boyfriend at the time. Hey, you know what? In any case, but yeah, Pretoria was still safe back then. The country was still safe. You know, you could walk back home at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and you'd be fine, you know? In any case, so I also got a part-time job within the lab, like doing some experimental work in the labs, and then um, getting paid for that. It wasn't a lot, but at least it was money. Then when I did my honors, we also got to do tutoring. So those were my streams of income. I was such a hustler. Oh, and then I was also selling Avon. I was always such an entrepreneur, I won't lie. So I was selling Avon as well. And then my mom is a designer. And then I asked her to make these hearts for me with like surrounded by lacy frills. And then I asked her to make lots of those for me to sell during Valentine's Day, and they were such a hit. So from all those streams of income in my room at the university, at the residence, I was able to buy a microwave. I was able to buy a small TV and a DVD player. Yeah, so I was a hustler and always have been an entrepreneur. In any case, um, so in my master's, oh, masters was wild. Masters was super wild because as I was doing my masters, like maybe the first month, I applied for a job to work as a candidate attorney in the patents department of one of the biggest IP law firms, IP intellectual property law firms in South Africa. And I got the job, but also I didn't want to stop studying for my master's. So what I did was I continued studying my master's. I worked as a lawyer, as a candidate attorney, or a lawyer in training, let me say. And that entails really late hours. So you can imagine, master's research on its own is super late hours. Working as a lawyer in training, as a candidate attorney on its own, also late hours. Then on top of that, I said, hold my beer. I went and registered to study an LLB, which is a bachelor's degree in law, because it was a requirement for me to qualify as a registered patent attorney. So I was doing a master's degree, I was doing undergrad law, and I was working as a lawyer in training. Could you imagine? In any case, eventually I had to stop. I had to stop with one of those things because it just was not working out. And I had so many balls in the air. I was juggling so many balls in the air. I would probably drop one, and I was at risk of not finishing any of my degrees or actually doing well at work. So in the end, I paused my law degree, and then I continued with my master's, finished my master's degree, and then um, after that, whilst working at the law firm, I thought, okay, it's interesting what I do here, but I believe that I've learned as much as I can, and now I would like to explore like a much broader um, aspect of the field that I was working in. So I decided to go and work at a state-owned entity which dealt mainly with agriculture. And there, as I was studying there, I decided to take up to start studying an MBA instead of going on with my LLB. And I got accepted to ISADE, which is a Spanish business school, but then I couldn't raise enough money to pay for my studies, and the scholarship was only 50%. And you know, schools in Europe are expensive, man, so I had to give up my place. I was so sad about it, but you know, um, yeah, if I had taken the chance and went and studied at ISADE, I would have studied in Barcelona. Can you imagine? Barcelona for like a whole year. But anyways, that opportunity passed me by. I was so sad about it, but I didn't give up on my MBA aspirations. I registered to study at a business school in South Africa, so local. It was Gibbs. It's quite a famous school, almost always top ranked, I must say. Anyway, so I studied at the Gordon Institute of Business Science. I completed my MBA. Even then, with MBA, there were a lot of challenges, and finances were one of them. Managing workload and working at the same time, one of them, because I did my MBA part time. Why did I keep doing that to myself? But in any way, I did finish my master's. I started my own business. It was called Washesha, an online grocery delivery store. And we were doing so well at Washesha. Um, it lasted for 4 years, but then because of COVID, we had to shut down. Again, I'll make a separate episode on Washesha, being an entrepreneur and all of that. Then after that, I used the skills that I gained throughout the years, my qualifications, and then I became a freelancer. So I was consulting in all things IP, writing articles pertaining to IP, talking to people about the latest laws in IP, and and trying to synthesize it in such a way that a layperson could understand. And that can be challenging on its own. But if you know the subject matter you're talking about, you can explain it to a 5-year-old without any issues whatsoever. No shade. I'm just saying. This is what the experts say. It's not my words, it's theirs. In any case, then what did I do after that? Yes, freelance. And then I got an opportunity to work in Europe. Okay, but before that, I'm jumping the gun. This is why I was pausing a bit. Then after freelancing, I decided that while freelancing, I would also take up a course in photography. Yes, a course in photography. Me, with 2 master's degrees, one in science, one in business administration. I just decided I wanted to take a course in photography. And to me, it made a lot of sense. And so I went to the US Embassy. I went and applied for my visa, a very daunting task. And like, I think the visa officer, or the person that was helping me, he might have been skeptical, like, girl, with all these degrees, you are now going to do photography? And how does photography feature in all of this? And as I explained to them, it featured in my freelance bag of tricks, because as someone who was writing articles, someone who was also dabbling a bit into the social media management side of things. Photography was a good nice to have. And also for me, it was super interesting because I am a big lover of photography. And I wanted to just get like a few pointers from experts. So I thought, why not do a bachelor's in digital photography? Then I registered with it's the Miami, is it the Miami Art Institute or something of the sort? I have to check that. But yeah, it was the Dallas campus. And lo and behold, the year after I registered, the school shut down. But in any case, before the school shut down, I got an opportunity to work in Europe. So I left Dallas, Texas, to return to Europe because after my company shut down, I went and lived in France for about 6 months before going to the US. And being in the US, didn't like it so much. So when I got the opportunity to return to Europe, I was like, yes, please. I was so stoked because the US and Europe, they have quite a massive difference in the way that people live, from the food, from the activities, etc., etc. So in any case, I like the European way more than American. So I was happy to return to Europe. All that to say that missing the opportunity to study at ISADE was not a train smash in the end because eventually I found myself in Europe. And the biggest lesson there is that what is for you will always be for you. It will always find you. And a dream deferred is not a dream denied. So remember that. And yes, this is where I am now, where I find myself. What I would like to do now is to chronicle my journey on how I navigated a lot of things. Mind you, in the country that I'm living in, it's not an English speaking country. English is not even an official language. The official language, like one of the official languages, is either French or German. So in any case, I had to learn French and maintenant je peux parler français et je veux dire aussi comment j'apprenais français. C'est pas parfait, mais maintenant je peux discuter avec les gens, je peux travailler en français et c'est pas facile, mais finalement, je peux parler en français. So, yes, I will take you also through my journey of learning how to speak French. I am learning German as well, so I'll also be touching on learning languages and how to navigate. And yes, so I'll be talking to you. Well, if you're interested, I can actually take you through all the topics that I will be addressing. So, second episode will be living abroad in a non-English speaking country, the visa issues that I faced. And initially, before I learned speaking how to speak French, going to the grocery store was also quite something interesting. So I'll be talking about that as well. And then as I was settling in this new country and, getting acquainted with everything, I discovered that I was pregnant. I discovered that I was pregnant all alone in a foreign country where English is not an official language. So I'll be talking about that. That will be episode 2. 3. No, 3. And then I'll be talking about healthcare and, how that has affected me in a non-English speaking country. Because although the doctors say they speak English, it's a bit choppy and sometimes they're not able to explain the medical terms to me in English. Like, anyway, so, and then another thing that I think is a massive thing that contributes to feeling homesick is food. The food in a specific country, the ability to just wake up and go to Nando's or Chicken Licken and buy biltong and acha. Like when that gets taken away, you have no idea how it feels. Oh, missing acha, missing stony, missing Chicken Licken, and even missing like coup baked beans because the chakalaka that you make overseas is just like bland without all the spices. Don't even get me started about cooking without Robertson's or proper masala curry. Hey. Anyways, that is another topic. And then making friends and dating over the age of 40 and in a foreign country. Yeah, let's talk about that. Then I'll discuss learning a new language, raising a multilingual child, and then I will talk more about my birth story and finances in a foreign country because things don't work the same as Mzansi. So, yeah, I hope that these topics are interesting to you and that you will tune in for more Life of K. Until next time, bye.